Hey guys, welcome back. It's Shelby and today I'm going to be working with this stuff, which is air dry clay. I did a brief kind of intro video with this, which was my first time using it a little bit ago. But basically what I want to do and make today is a jewelry holder, kind of like a really pretty seashell one, the kind you would put on your vanity and just kind of like have jewelry spilling out of, you know, like the super practical, useful ones. So that's what I'm going to make today. It does need 24 hours to dry, so it's a multi-day project, but I'll list everything you need down in the description below along with my socials. Please give the video a thumbs up if you do like it. Please consider subscribing. We'll get going. The piece I'm using is smaller than a baseball, larger than a golf ball, if that helps at all. Probably not, but it's like a giant egg and a half. Yes. So basically I'm just going to start shaping it into kind of that shape. While I'm doing that, I can give you some fun observations I have had while working with this product. You don't need to heat it or use a kiln. It's air dry. And it says so on the package, like, oh, you don't need a kiln, you don't need to fire it. What it doesn't necessarily say is that air dry clay is highly flammable, so don't put it near a thing. Don't be like, oh, well, 24 hours, I could just heat it up in the oven. Bad idea. Second of all, because it's not air dry, I'm assuming that's because I don't actually know the reason, but once you make a product and let it dry and everything, if you get it wet, it will kind of revert back. So you can't really make it into a vase or anything because when you put the water in there, it's going to re-liquefy, if that makes a difference. I'm not actually showing you what I'm doing. Sorry, camera angle's weird, but whatever. It's like a little bowl. But yeah, so don't get it wet, don't use it for a vase. You could wrap it around like glass for a vase to like make the glass look cool, but then have the water in the actual glass. That would totally work. Don't get it wet, and yeah, that's about it. It's kind of like a weird consistency, as I mentioned. It almost feels kind of like those foam beads, but like super smooth, like you don't get the little beads in there, the bead feeling at all, but it's kind of like that texture. It holds its cracks, but it doesn't really, as far as I've noticed, like air bubbles tearing your piece apart isn't really a big issue with that, so that's a pro. Yeah, and most things you make don't really like come in contact with water and heat, at least the things I make usually, so not really a big deal. Like, you know, a jewelry dish, that's not necessarily going to come into contact with water or heat, so not super worried about that. Right now I have a lovely little bowl, little concave thing. So now I'm going to start shaping it into a seashell, just kind of like flattening the sides and then pulling out the top. I don't know, I should probably have a seashell out for reference, but I don't. So I'm just gonna do the best I can. It's going to my vanity, so it's fine. Kind of like a little abalone type shape. Gonna see what I'm doing. I'm gonna take my fingers and smush them like that for the shape. Kind of get the shell shape a little bit using my fingers, which I actually think is quite brilliant, and like just thought of that. Yeah, general shape. General shell shape. Perfect. You know, I mean, I'm going to smooth it out a little bit, but yeah, oh, that's awesome. Totally use your fingers like that. Just like there, and then smush them up like this way. That worked really well. And then just kind of shape it until it's exactly how you want it. I kind of want the lip a little thicker at the bottom and a little thinner on top, just because that's how real seashells are. Not that this is, you know, needs to look like a super real seashell, but it's just kind of something that I want my seashell jewelry case to include. So feel free to include whatever you want in yours, whatever shape you want. But yeah, just keep working it until you get the desired shape. Then for this shell shape, I'm just pushing my thumb in and it's kind of curving it over. I'm rotating the place that my thumb's pushing into over my palm, so it kind of creates kind of a natural curvature. It's kind of like that. Yeah, like that. So that looks pretty good, actually. So that's where we're sitting. I'm gonna let this dry. I do want little things on the bottom that look like pearls kind of holding it up. But since it's wet, I feel like if I put them on now, the weight of it's just gonna push them into it, so I don't want that. So I'm going to let this dry nice and flat, and then I will add the feet and the decoration when it's dry, I guess tomorrow. It says 24 hours, so I can't really do anything to it until at least tomorrow afternoon, but 24 to 48 hours, and I'll see you again. Look at it, just chilling, waiting to be a productive member of society someday. Okay, checking in on the dish. So it has been drying, and so far it looks pretty good. You can kind of see the relief of the seashell in there. Nice and flat, which is perfect. So it is dry, so I do want to paint it. I have this kind of pink pearlized paint that I just picked up. I picked this one for a couple of reasons. One, it's, you know, pearlized, so kind of seashell-esque. It's a really pretty pink. It's kind of like a retro-y kind of glam vanity look, and then also it's paint, so it's going to seal it against moisture, because as I said, the air dry clay, when it gets wet again, it does kind of revert back to its state. So I'm just going to get this painted and on the front side first and let it dry, and then I was thinking about it and I actually want to paint all the sides just to kind of seal it in. I'm just going to start with the front, let it dry, and then paint the back and let it dry, and then we'll move on from there. So ignore my paintbrush, it's seen better days, but it does the job. This is gonna be super fast. I'm just going to spray a bunch of paint on there and brush it out. I've never worked with this paint before, but it does look really pretty. It's kind of a pearlized pink. I don't mind it being thick because it'll give it that kind of enamel look, which is nice. And then because it is iridescent sparkles, maybe the swirls will add like, I don't know, a bit of dimension, a bit of like opalescence, kind of get that abalone look. That would be nice too, so I don't mind putting it on thick. So I've got it all laid out with my jewelry. Look how beautiful it looks. I love the pearls spilling out of it because it's a shell. I have it on this beautiful marble file folder because, you know, a girl can dream, but I wish I had a table that looked like this. Maybe I'll turn this into one. I don't know. Faux marble tabletop. And my gorgeous rings that I got for like 50 cents off eBay. My borax necklace. But yeah, so super pretty, super shiny. I love it. I think this is beautiful, and it's gonna go on my actual vanity. So I'm very excited for that. Alright guys, so you saw it all laid out with my jewelry. Here's how it turned out by itself. Just a beautiful pink opalescent shell. And of course had to be styled on a folder because these are great. Honestly, best purchase I ever made. Like, I use them for tons of pictures and stuff. And they were like $5. So if you see them, grab them. They're fun. But back to the regularly scheduled program. Yeah, so it's nice. It's solid. It's clay, you can't really make a noise when you knock on it, but it's perfect size. It's slightly smaller than my hand. So it's just like a nice little dish for next to the sink, put your rings in, or your necklaces or your earrings for the end of the day on your nightstand or on your vanity. So super in love with it. I'll put some pictures at the end. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing, and I'll see you here next time. Bye.